How does a pilot control an aircraft only by using flight instruments? When you're getting your private pilot certificate, you were mainly controlling the aircraft by looking outside because you were in visual conditions. But if the weather isn't VMC, then you're going to have to know how to control the airplane by only looking at the instruments. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can do that. Welcome to lesson 1 of my free pilot training instrument ground course. I'm Josh, and today I'm going to be introducing you to basic instrument skills for the IFR pilot. Now, if you're a private pilot, you should have 3 hours of instrument time under your belt, but your instructor might not have gone into too much detail on this topic. In order to fly an airplane on instruments, there are 3 basic skills that you need to learn if you want to be successful at flying an aircraft under instrument flight rules or IFR. These are instrument crosscheck, instrument interpretation, and aircraft control. And actually, these aren't just 3 skills that you need to know. Each one of these is a part of the 3-step process that we use to control the airplane and fly it with extreme precision when we can't see outside. And that's going to be a common theme throughout your instrument training. We're trying to control the airplane with extreme precision because we may not be able to see outside when we're flying in the weather. And being at the wrong altitude or in the wrong location can mean the difference in running into a tower or terrain. And this is something that none of us want, unless you're a weirdo and you like dying. Anyway, let's look at each one of these steps for basic instrument flying. First, we have the instrument crosscheck. In the simplest terms, crosscheck simply means scanning the instruments. Now, I know this seems like common sense, but there are actually quite a few techniques out there that you can use to help you gather all the information you need for instrument flight very quickly. In fact, the Air Force uses something called the hub and spoke method. Take a look at this 6-pack of aircraft instruments. And I want you to notice that a lot of times these instruments are arranged in such a way so that the attitude indicator is in the center of your instrument panel. And then the other important instruments like the airspeed indicator, the altimeter, and the heading indicator are strategically placed right next to them. If your cockpit isn't arranged like this, then some retard likely threw these gauges in here because he didn't care about your instrument crosscheck. But anyway, you can see that on a good setup like this, I can focus on my attitude indicator, then I can take a quick glance at my airspeed and go right back to my attitude. Then I can take a quick look at my heading and then go right back to my attitude. Then a quick look over to the altitude and back to my attitude. Now take a look at this G1000, and when you do, I want you to notice that it's set up in the exact same way. I can spoke out and come right back to my hub during my crosscheck. And this can really help me gather the information I need really efficiently. That's one of the great things about these digital flight instruments, but they're just really expensive. So a lot of you guys are going to be training on the old clock, so sorry about that. Next, we have instrument interpretation, and this simply means that we need to understand what our instruments are telling us. What if I'm trying to fly a heading of 180, but I spoke down to my heading indicator and saw this? How would I interpret this data? Yeah, I'm not currently on a 180 heading, am I? So I have to interpret what these instruments are telling me so I can make a decision on what to do. What if I'm trying to fly an airspeed of 80 knots and I spoked over here and saw this? How would you interpret this information? Yeah, we're getting kind of slow, aren't we? So I need to do something, and that's where the last step in our process comes into play: aircraft control. Okay, now that I know that there's something wrong, I want to get the airplane to do exactly what I want it to do. I looked over here and I saw that I'm slow. What's something I could do when I saw that? Yeah, I could push the power up. But maybe I should come back to my hub and make sure the nose isn't pitched way up. If it is, I could just spoke over to my altitude to verify. If I'm climbing when I didn't intend to, I can just come back to my hub and use my attitude indicator to pitch back down and get my airspeed back under control. If my heading isn't where I want it to be, then I can come back to my hub and roll myself back over where I need to be as well. So, if you want to fly an airplane by only using the aircraft instruments, then you need to remember these 3 basic steps to instrument flight: instrument crosscheck, instrument interpretation, and aircraft control. And once you understand this topic, then this is going to give you a solid foundation for your instrument flight training. Thank you so much for joining me on Free Pilot Training. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to smash that like button for me. It really helps me out when you guys do that. In the next video, we're going to be going into more detail on the altimeter, because this is a super important instrument that you need to know how to use if you want to control the aircraft with extreme precision. And when that video is done, I'll throw it right here. See ya!